whoa. Don't look in the closet. I have never cleaned the closet. What? I'm not perfect. Hello, my name is Jacob, and I'm a Norse pagan, and I'm also kind of a minimalist. And what I mean by that is that I try to live with less. We're down this path of the old gods because we want something different. The lifestyle that we're being provided is not enough. And I've also found that people that go down the minimalist lifestyle also have that same feeling. They don't like this constant, pressure from society to be a certain way. We want to go our own path. And I found the connection between minimalism and paganism is actually the idea of what is enough to make us happy. A lot of people have done studies and research on the idea that when you buy something really expensive, you get that first rush, and then it doesn't take long for that to go away, and we're already searching for the next big thing. So when we go down this path of paganism, we're searching for something different, and we find it, but also the gods find us, and the folk really welcome us in. And I think that's the true beauty of paganism. Now, with minimalism, I do need to describe what it is probably a little better, because a lot of us have this idea of what minimalism might be, and you might picture someone like Steve Jobs who wore the same thing every day and it doesn't look good. The stonewashed jeans, the black turtlenecks, or you might picture someone in a room with nothing and living with nothing. And this just isn't the case. Really, like I said, it's about living with enough. Now, what I was going to use as an example today is actually here on my desk. So one thing that I have not made minimal, is this cup of pins that I have on my desk. There are probably 30 to 40 pins in this little tiny cup. And I think this is a perfect way to explain what minimalism really is. So if you lay out all 40 pins and you really look at them and you study them, you realize which pins you actually use. And when you set those aside, you may only have 4 or 5 pins that you use on a regular basis. Maybe you have one pencil, maybe you have one really nice ink, running one, maybe you have a highlighter, a couple different colors, but really that's all you use and all you seek. But then we start pulling these pins and we start realizing that there are so many pins that, one, don't even work, or two, we don't even enjoy, but yet we still throw them back in the cup. And I think this applies to a lot of things in our lives, such as clothing or, movies, books, and things like that. So minimalism is really taking stock of those things in our life. It's laying everything out and saying what actually brings me value and what doesn't. One of the things that comes up with minimalism a lot is everyone argues, well, I can't get rid of this. This has meaning to me. This has value. This is my grandfather's. That's fine. Keep things that have value to you. If it has value to you for sentimental reasons, keep it. By all means, keep it. Don't throw it away. Minimalism isn't saying throw everything away. Only keep what has value and what brings value. So if you have 2 pins that have value to you, one from your grandfather, one that was your first graduate pin from college, by all means, keep those pins. But even when you separate what you actually use, what has value to you, and then you look at all the ones that, one, maybe not even work, I guarantee you there's at least 8 pins in here that don't work. And then the rest are either cheap or are just never used or get in the way. So that is what minimalism is. It's removing the things that we don't use and don't bring us value from our equations. So that way, the pins that are in this cup or the shirts that are in our closet are ones that actually bring us value. Another aspect of minimalism is buying quality. And when we do buy something, we buy it in a higher quality. When we look into paganism, we're really into our craft culture. We're really into supporting our local blacksmiths, our clothing makers, our horn makers. We really want to support these types of people. And it's no different than with minimalism. We're buying quality and we're buying something that has value to us. When I buy my necklaces, I get them from a blacksmith, his Wordcore on Instagram, or he's Bloodforged on Etsy. I love everything he does, and so he has done the 2 necklaces I wear, as well as the ring I have for ceremonies, and we're actually working on a project right now together. But that's value because he's a member of this community. He's a really unique craftsman, and it has value. I know his hands touch these objects. Another connection is I think a lot of us want to search for that lifestyle of living off the land, living sustainably. I mean, when we think of the Hall, a lot of us think about living on the grounds. We think about, producing our own things, selling our own things, and really living that sustainable lifestyle. And minimalism is, a way to do that when we don't have the Hall. A little bit about my life, just a quick snapshot, is that when I was in college, I got offered a manager job at the restaurant I was waiting at. I was just waiting tables, and I saw an opportunity to move up, and they wanted me to become an assistant manager. And I tried to do school and managing for a while, but eventually they came up to me with a big fat check and says, "We want you to be general manager of a restaurant." And I could not refuse the big fat check. So I actually dropped out of college and I worked as a restaurant general manager for about 2 years. But what did I do with my money? I bought another car because I only had a 2015 Nissan Versa. And I hate you, Jacob, from 4 years ago when you decided to trade that car in and put more debt on top of a Mazda 3. I could go on a huge list of things that I was buying that weren't bringing me value. I had all this money, I was young, and I was just buying things if I wanted them. I'm looking at these managers who I once looked up to for owning these nice cars, and now what I'm really seeing is that they hate their wives, they despise their children, and they're never home. And that's when I had my wake-up call. I took a step back and I really took stock on what had value in my life. I'm not happy working 60 hours a week. I'm not happy even though I get this big fat check. And what do? I'm not happy. I haven't graduated college. I think this applies to a lot of people. This applies to a lot of different high-paying jobs, is that you realize that this isn't about happiness. It's about money. Can I make my boss more money so I can make more money? And that's it. So I really took stock, and I actually left that job. I went back to college, and I started doing freelance photography. And I was poor, but I was happy. I was taking photos at concerts for, stars like Rick Springfield. I was traveling across the states to take pictures of different venues. I was meeting new and unique people with new and unique stories. And this is what minimalism did for me. But also, the gods were also there. They were guiding me on this journey, and it was guiding me towards happiness. It was guiding me towards adventure. And now, I'm at a place where I'm making money again. But this time, I've learned my lesson. I'm not buying new things left and right. I'm living frugally while also living well. And, I couldn't do that without minimalism, but I also couldn't do that without the gods. And there is a connection there, and I hope you see it. I hope I've explained this well. But if I haven't, there's 2 people I want you to meet. And their names are Matt and Matt. And one is Matt Diavella. He's a person I don't actually talk to. I wish I did. But he is a minimalist who is also a filmmaker. And he has a very popular YouTube channel, and he kind of blew up over the last couple of years. And he's a very down-to-earth guy. You can really tell from his videos. And honestly, if you watch his videos, you're going to see, wow, I can see where the wisdom of Odin actually got his influence from. Because I love his filming style. He's quirky while also very stylized, and he presents his information in a very fun and informative way. But there's also the other side of the story, the other side of this video, and that is paganism. And like I said, a lot of us want to live that lifestyle of, living off the land, living in the mountains. And the other Matt is Matt Sargent, and he actually runs a YouTube channel by the names of Awaz Initiations, and he's on Instagram at Soil Shaman. And me and him have talked quite a few times because I love the lifestyle he lives. And he says it himself, it's not easy. It's not easy to live off the land. It's not easy to live, and take care of animals and crops. That takes time and effort. And he's very passionate about what he does. He's very passionate about the gods and his faith, but also taking care of his property and his lifestyle. So I actually got in contact with him, and I asked him if he would be willing to do a small video for this. And he seemed interested, and so I only asked him to answer one simple question. And that question is, what is enough to you?
Hey there, you beautiful heathen. Jacob's asked me to talk about minimalism and heathenry. I'm going to quote the Havamal. 2 goats, one's out of sight, and a patched up roof are better far than begging. Obviously, you need more than 2 goats and a roof. You need a garden to go with it, and kin. Kin is the most important part. Something to defend your kin. But if you've got goats, a garden, a house, and your kin, you're good to go.
So please check out his content, go to his YouTube page, give him a subscribe, because I think he has a lot of information and and he shares a lifestyle that is unique. Now, once again, I'm not saying go out, become a minimalist. If this is something that interests you, really start taking stock in your life and removing those things that we don't need or don't work. What I've learned through paganism is that what really matters is the gods, the folk, and the spirits. Everything else is just details. But getting closer to those 3 things has brought me true contentment and true happiness. And what I've learned through minimalism is how to live with enough. So I think if there is any big lesson to learn from this video or from these 2 things, it's that life doesn't have to be so complicated. Life can be simple. Life can be minimal. And life can just be about living with enough. We will be in a hall one day. We will be celebrating our gods. We will be celebrating our true happiness together as folk. So until that hall, until we can drink together, Skal.